got to get to it. We got to get to it, man. Shedeur Sanders, Deshaun Watson in a super heated battle at Browns OTAs. This thing is going to carry through training camp up through preseason. And the best man's going to win the job. Obviously, we are all hoping that two can pull it out. I got full confidence in him as long as these receivers start catching the ball and stop popping the ball up in the air for interceptions and all types of stuff. But my man G. Bush stepped in the kitchen and was whipping up a pot of something about this quarterback battle. And
two quarterbacks walked into Browns OTAs. One carrying the weight of a $230 million guaranteed contract, the other carrying nothing but belief. And somewhere in between the reps, the throws, and the sideline reactions, something shifted. Nobody said it out loud. Nobody had to. Because when Shedeur Sanders started making throws that made the coaching staff pause, when the offensive line looked different, when the receivers were actually catching the ball, the narrative that was supposed to be settled suddenly wasn't. This wasn't supposed to be a competition, and that's exactly why it is.
Dealt with a putrid offensive line, a putrid wide receiving room, which is why they went and got Spencer Fano in the first round, which is why they went and got KC Concepcion in the first round, which is why they doubled right back into the receiver market and got Denzel Boston in the second round. And they're trying to provide more stability around the quarterback. So the quarterback actually has somewhat of an opportunity to be successful, because I don't care who you got back there with that offensive line from last year, that receiving core from last year, Jerry Jeudy second in the league in drops, supposedly.
Because if you want to understand what's happening in Berea right now, you have to understand the crime scene that was left behind last season. An offensive line that couldn't protect anyone, a wide receiver room so unreliable that Jerry Jeudy, second in the league in drops, was supposed to be the #1 option. Passes popping up in the air, interceptions off the hands of guys being paid to catch the football. Deshaun Watson was handed a shovel and told to dig out of a canyon. Now, the Browns are trying to fill in that canyon. Spencer Fano, first round, offensive line. KC Concepcion, first round, wide receiver. Denzel Boston, second round, wide receiver. Andrew Berry didn't just address the roster, he sent a message to whoever's back there under center. We are building this around you. Now, show us who you are. And that is where everything gets complicated.
In KC Concepcion, BrownsNation.com says the Browns rookie wide receiver Denzel Boston said that he and fellow rookie KC Concepcion have quickly built a brother relationship, explaining that their close bond off the field has helped create chemistry, energy, and accountability between them every day. Our relationship has now gone to a brother kind of thing. We only call each other brother around a facility or when we see each other. We are always hanging out outside the facility, just trying to do something to make sure that we're building that bond with each other, constantly being around each other, learning from each other, pushing each other, and every day. When you have that type of friendship, it brings out the fun on the field. It allows you guys to go out there and have fun and make plays with each other. We're matching energy all the time, and that was covered via NFL Network's The Insiders.
Here's what the cameras caught. Here's what G. Bush broke down. KC Concepcion. Yes, he had a couple of early drops that turned into interceptions, the kind of moments that make scouts cringe. But then he came back, made a contested catch from Deshaun Watson, climbed the ladder, hands, ball secured. Denzel Boston, double move, corner of the end zone, touchdown, over Tyson Campbell. But here's what people missed. Boston and Concepcion aren't just new receivers, they're already brothers. They said it themselves, we only call each other brother. We're always together outside the facility, pushing each other, matching energy. That is not a press conference answer, that is a culture signal. And when receivers believe in each other, when they push each other to the film room, to the weight room, to that extra rep after practice, the quarterback feels it. Both Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson have reportedly looked sharp in shorts. But here's the thing about looking good in shorts. The progression of the entire offense looks different. The timing routes, the rhythm, the chemistry, that changes everything.
Stepping stones that we really got to take a look at, because these are the type stories where I think that the Cleveland Browns have shown that they're paying dividends. It's showing that the Cleveland Browns are trying to move the page and turn the page. And it's exciting because I'm already seeing some of the stuff right now. I'm going to tell you what, the quarterbacks, I'm going to be honest with you, Both Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson have looked very good in shorts. Now, granted, it's shorts, but the progression, it looks completely different. As a matter of fact, the complete offense looks completely different.
Let's talk about something the highlights won't show you. Every young quarterback entering the NFL carries one invisible burden above all others: hyper-awareness of the moment. They're not seeing the defense yet. They're seeing the playbook. They're seeing scheme. They're processing the language of a new system. That's not weakness. That's reality. But here's where Shedeur Sanders may have an edge that nobody is talking about. He grew up inside the crucible. Coach Prime's program at Colorado wasn't just football. It was theater, scrutiny, media pressure, and spotlight at maximum volume. Every rep was watched. Every mistake was dissected. Shedeur Sanders has been playing in front of a crowd his entire life. Deshaun Watson is coming back from a 23-game absence. He's trying to rebuild confidence in a body and a system that has questioned him at every turn. His mental load is enormous. And this is the thing about confidence. It doesn't care about contracts. Confidence lives in the moment. It lives in the throw, in the footwork, in the eyes of the offensive lineman who looks back at you after a big conversion. Who looks more settled right now? That's the question the Crown's coaching staff wakes up asking every single morning. Pay attention to the language being used. Todd Monken isn't saying Deshaun Watson is our starter. He's saying the best man is going to win the job. Andrew Berry didn't build this roster around a guaranteed contract. He built it around an opportunity. He drafted 2 wide receivers in the first 2 rounds, not to protect a veteran, but to give whoever is back there no more excuses. That's the signal. When a GM rebuilds the weapons, rebuilds the protection, and then lets the quarterback competition play out openly into training camp, he's not protecting an investment, he's conducting an evaluation. And evaluations have outcomes. The fact that they've given both quarterbacks upgraded tools, a real offensive system under Monken, and a legitimate receiving core to work with, that's not loyalty to Watson. That's clarity. They want to know, right now, in these reps, in these OTAs, in this preseason, because the franchise can no longer afford to not know. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud in Cleveland. If Shedeur Sanders wins this job, and I mean wins it, takes it, it doesn't just change the Browns season, it reshapes the entire QB conversation in the AFC North. It sends a message to every franchise that handed out a massive contract without accountability. It validates the belief that you can draft your way out of a quarterback crisis. And for the Browns fan base, a fan base that has suffered longer than almost any other in professional football, it would mean something profound. A homegrown quarterback, hungry, young, unafraid, built alongside receivers who call each other brother, built inside an offensive system finally designed to succeed, built inside an organization that for the first time in a long time actually drafted with a plan. But if Watson recaptures that pre-injury form, if the weapons unlock something in him that we haven't seen, that's equally historic, a redemption arc years in the making. Either way, this is not a boring quarterback competition. This is the Browns' entire future playing out in real time. Remember the beginning of this video? 2 quarterbacks, 1 battle, nobody expecting much. But what G. Bush showed us, what these OTAs are quietly revealing, is that the Browns aren't just managing a transition, they are building something. 2 rookies calling each other brother, a GM making bold draft decisions, a head coach refusing to hand anyone a starting job, and somewhere in the middle of it all, a young quarterback from Colorado throwing the ball with something that looks a lot like certainty. They said the job was Deshaun Watson's to lose. Maybe. But Shedeur Sanders didn't come to Cleveland to wait. And suddenly, the Browns' most important question of 2025 doesn't have an obvious answer anymore.